this class today because I did not use like a document camera last class, and I was writing up on the board, which does not show up in my recorded video. So long story less long, I'm going to try to use this camera, and I need you guys to tell me if it doesn't work out, because this is about as close as I can get to the paper. I'm going to try to get a little bit closer, but the focus gets messed up. So we're going to obviously give you some time to start before we dive into actually solving them together. But here are our announcements, right? You're going to need probably 3 colors of highlighters. Please make sure that you give my things back after class and like put away calculators and highlighters and stuff where they belong. Khan Academy was due yesterday, and it's due Friday. And like we said yesterday, the stuff due April 5th, you should really try to get done as soon as you can. I'm probably going to assign the stuff that is going to happen after spring break here sometime soon. So people who are completely caught up can go ahead and work like kind of into the future if you want. Yeah, so Grace, I'm going to start my screen share to make sure that you can see the announcements. So again, there will probably be a mini mastery actually tomorrow, because I found out that a couple people plan to be gone on Friday. This, as we talked about yesterday, for those of you who like to be like, wait, what? I had this up here yesterday, right? Inequalities. So I might throw a couple angle problems on there, because honestly, I bet, especially after today, that you'll be like, man, angle problems are kind of easier than the inequality problems, because there just seems to be less trapdoors, right? Because especially when we have visuals, which everything we do today, we have a visual to go with it. Especially when we have visuals, I think sometimes geometry is a bit easier for our brain to understand. Reminder, please come to AO and Extensions, especially to ask questions about like tougher problems. I had people come in yesterday, especially like catching up on shaded area work and stuff like that. So yeah, any questions before we dive into things? For the good of the order. Everyone got your notes from out in the hallway? Alright, so as we dive into this, I want to make sure that you realize what I mean with start with the equation. You don't have to. But if you don't know what to do, starting with the equation that just mathematically writes out the relationship that we see is a really good idea. So on this problem, if I told you to start with the equation, the relationship that we see is that 45-degree angle and that x degree angle make what together? They make a 90-degree angle together. So we could write out the relationship, and I'm going to try to get my camera a little closer, but I don't know exactly how well it's going to work. What is just a little bit tall? Maybe this. This is kind of sort of maybe going to work. Nope, I think I lose the focus as soon as I try to even get that close. It seems like from this far away it's okay and doesn't get too angry at me. But I want to make sure, Grace, I'm trying to make sure that you can see what we write, because if I just write on the board in here, it doesn't show up for you. So we could say that 45 and x, or actually I'm going to put the x first. We could say x and 45 equals 90. And then what would we do to figure out what just our angle x is? Well, and this is what I mean by visually this tends to help. Get rid of this. Right? If I want to figure out what I have left, if we get rid of the 45, it tells me what I have left. And actually yesterday we talked about what matches with 45 to make 90. Another 45, right? Very good. So do that in the next problems. As I always say, if you can't figure out what to do, highlight things. So I will show you guys one more, but then I want you to work for a while on your own. The next one's pretty tough. So, and again, I'm sorry that I can't get much closer. I might try to digitally zoom and see if that works. Let's see how well this works. That's not bad. So our green line is a straight line. Our blue line is a straight line. Our orange line is a straight line. So guys, I could look at a relationship of 180 degrees. I could look at the fact that this little box tells me 90 degrees. I could look at the vertical angles here that tell me that up here is also 90 degrees. I could look at right here also has to be 90 degrees. Because if my orange line is a straight line and this box tells me 90 degrees, then we know that its supplement, right, like we talked about yesterday, its supplement up here has to also be 90. So either way that we solve it, like any way that we solve it, there's a lot of ways to solve it. We get x to be 62. Go ahead and try the next few problems on your own. Guys, I will tell you the next thing that people really kind of struggled with is that this, hey Grace, if you're done with the problems we're on right now, you can go ahead and try the next ones. This arc right here, this 125, is both of these smaller angles. So someone was like, this is marked 125, but it's a 90 degree angle. And I'm like, well, no, the arc, see how big the arc is? So be careful with that one. That's the next one down below the square. So be careful with that one. But go ahead, take a few minutes, try this on your own. I'm going to flip the 5-minute timer and try to give you guys that long at least. So this would be your next one, the one over here. Yeah. Give it a shot. It is okay to struggle. One of the best things that a math teacher's ever told me is write down anything. You could highlight straight lines so that we remember that straight lines make 180 degree angles. You could look for the little boxes. Remember those little boxes tell us how many degrees? 90, right? So if you find a little box, you know that's 90 degrees. If we highlight a straight line, we know it's 180. All right, we've talked about you trying stuff on your own first, and I know not exactly knowing what to do is uncomfortable, but that's okay. That's how we learn, right? So it's okay to struggle. I want you to try this, until this timer runs out. I'm trying not to help you guys. Because remember, if you get it wrong, it doesn't matter. Like right now, it doesn't matter if you get it wrong. Protractors don't work. These images are not drawn to scale. They are not necessarily able to be measured. They are just images that we have placed numbers on top of.
Yesterday, you used the same picture.
Yeah, right? And that's on purpose to make you guys realize you can't just assume that the picture is correct or whatever. Any of these would be. Can't roll it, at least highlight them. Write down something. Okay, so I agree with your 180 if you like arc the whole thing. So what that means is if we put 35 with the 125 and whatever we're missing right there, we'll get 180 total, right? So, random cards, here we go. It's a little hard to shuffle 6. Adam, what relationship do we see in this image?
What do you mean by relationship?
Like, so if I put a couple things together, I can actually pull in another number that isn't necessarily in the picture, but we know it.
Well, the 180-degree angle and that 90-degree angle on the top hill, I guess.
Okay.
If the other angle is going to go with the 360 angle, it has to be 90 degrees.
Awesome. Okay, so we know that this is also 90, so that's something that we could label. Can I set up a relationship using the x and something else?
Good. So, I know from the square that the x in 35 is a 90-degree angle.
Hold on, let's write that down. We know from this square that x and 35 make 90. Does anyone have questions on that? Sorry, I need to quit tapping my desk ever so slightly because it moves a lot today. This x degree angle and that 35 degree angle together make the angle that is boxed out, which we know is 90. Continue, Adam.
So 90 minus the 35-degree angle that we already know equals 55. And that is x.
So if we take away the 35 degree angle, we'll be left with just the x angle, which is how big?
55.
Absolutely. Any questions for Adam there? Or Adam here. I don't know why I said Adam there. I like it when I catch myself saying silly things. Finn, in our next one, which would be this image, can you tell me anything that we see? There's a 90. Yeah, this one's tough. Guys, the first thing that I would do is, give me just a second. First thing I would do is make sure that you've notated that the 125, guys, you could draw it again, right? The 125 is both of these. So that is 125. Adam, do you got an idea? We'll let Finn throw this to you.
So, the 125, the 90-degree angle on the exact opposite side of the bigger 125-degree side, that's a vertical angle.
Ooh, so if you haven't highlighted your lines, sorry to interrupt you, Adam. If you haven't highlighted your lines, you might not be able to see this, but what Adam is saying is the 90 degree is our blue and yellow, or whatever colors you might have it on your paper. That's part of the 125. So he's actually going to denote that this angle is 90 because it's vertical with the other 90.
So if I do 125 minus 90, that equals 35. And that is what that one angle is right there.
Oh, that makes really good sense because my blue and orange
It's also vertical.
is vertical to my blue and orange. Questions on how Adam has figured out what he figured out so far? Good work, man. You want to keep going?
So that blue line is a 180-degree angle.
Are you looking at the bottom of it or the top of it?
Top.
So Adam's now saying, I'm running out of colors. Actually, sorry, I'm saying that. This is 180 degrees.
And I can deduct that 125 and that 35, which would be 60. Well, 160.
Ooh, be careful. Hold on. Remember that 125 goes down to here.
That's why. So, 90.
Ah, the 90 and the 35. Guys, check this out because this is a dangerous trapdoor. If Adam uses the blue line, he can't use 125 because 125 leaves the blue line. If he's using the blue line, he can use the 90 and the 35 to take away from the 180.
And that's what x equals, and the other line is vertical to the x.
What'd you get?
Well, I got 30 because I fell in the trapdoor.
Ah, trapdoors. So here's the other funny thing. What's 180 minus 90? 90. So this right here, this is actually 90. And 90 minus 35, oh wait, we just did that. We did that on the last problem. 90 minus 35, 55. So x, and I'm just going to put it down here, x is 55 degrees. Guys, the struggle here is there's a bunch of ways to look at this. You maybe didn't look at this the same way as us, but you can get the same answer. Because there are a lot of right ways to look at this. It's like if I tell you that we're going to go meet at Thomas High School, you might drive a different route than I take to get there, but if we both get there, sweet. You might take Wilson Bridge and I go take the highway and whatever. Questions on that one? The next one is a bunch of vertical angles and a little bit of supplementary. Finn, can I try to throw this back to you and see if you can help me on this one? Yeah, for x, we get 145 also because it is vertical. Now up here, what can we do at the top of the angle? Douglas, what can we do at the top part, like this top intersection? Do we see any relationship up there? Okay, what relationship? Do we see a vertical, a supplementary, a complementary? A supplementary, so if you see supplementary, we're making a straight line, right? So either I could make this straight line, but oh crap, I don't know either of those. I could make this straight line. Ah, okay. So how many degrees would this missing angle be? Whatever else we need to get to 180. So be careful. This is the supplementary. Remember, this is where we actually do the subtraction. What'd you get? 155? Wait. 145. Sorry, I can't hear right now. 145, which then means this one, which also we see a vertical relationship here, or we can see supplementary, is 35. And actually down here, we can see another supplementary. Remember, straight lines. So how big is this angle? Yeah, it's also 35. How big is this angle? Also 35. I told you guys we just have a bunch of verticals. And actually, the cool thing this starts to show us is since if we add up the two angles in between these two lines, they make a perfect 180. that tells us that these two lines are parallel to each other. So you don't have to know that yet, but I would put those arrows on there just so maybe later you remember that little note that we talked about. As we move to the next section, writing the equation becomes pretty darn important because we're going to need to do algebra. So, Grace, when we look at this next problem, and we're going to give you guys a couple minutes, so Grace, you got a couple minutes to look at this. I'm actually going to bump over here for a second. When we look at these next problems, what we want to do is start with some sort of equation to write out and then solve to get the variable. So even if you can do it all on your calculator, I need you to write it down on your paper, what relationship you're saying. So what do I mean by that? Well, of course, I'm going to help you with one to get you started. What do I mean by that? Is like when I look at these two angles and I look at this little box, I know that the 5x and the 35 together make what? So I can write 5x and 35 make 90. Then, can I, get rid of the 35-degree angle? Sure, I can get rid of it so that all I have left is this. We subtract 35.
So we're using the angles to make the inequality problem?
Well, equation. Because remember, these are equal now. So this angle that's left, my 5x. Well, guys, what was 90 minus 35? This is not an accident that we see these numbers a lot on this paper. 55. So if 5x is 55, how do we figure out what x is? We divide by 5. And x comes out to be 11. Careful, 50 divided by 5 would be 10. 55 would get us 11.
Oh.
You're right, man. Math is hard, seriously.
So basically the x is 5.
Yep. The x would be 11. Sorry, because this algebra, so follow the algebra down. First, we took away the angle of 35 to figure out what do we have left. What we have left is 55, and that is equal to our 5x. Since those are equal, how do we get x by itself? We can divide by the 5. We divide by the 5, we get 11. Make sense? So try the next two on your own, and if you're done with those, go ahead and try the back. I gave Terry my dock camera for today. I don't know if I said that out loud. Who what? Oh, in your room?
Yeah.
Ah. Right. When is Wilson? So that would actually work if Terry needs to borrow it because she teaches blocks 1 and 2. Right? And 1 and 2 you're in, and then Learning Center, and then gone. Right? Yeah, because block 2's in the afternoon. I always get screwed up because right after this I teach 2A.
Yeah.
Although it's not 7th grade 2A. It's
Bring my, you need it down here.
I think I'll be okay. I'm making my my high school class is doing combinations and permutations, so I don't have a lot of writing to do. They have a lot of like thinking to do. You know what I mean? Am I over counting? We have to. It's that lesson of like, but wait, that's too many. All right, Grace, we're gonna throw this to you now. When I look at this right angle, can you tell me what equation I could write? And now I ask you the question. I realize I need to check what speaker I'm on. All right, yeah, we should be, if you unmute, I should be able to hear you. All right, so what equation could we write here? Grace, you with me? Remember, you're always able to pass if you don't know what to do, but do you have an equation for this one? Okay, we'll throw... Sorry, yes or no? No? Okay, we'll throw it to Aiden. No worries. Aiden, do you have an equation for this one? Not yet? Yeah, this part's tricky, right? The 6x minus 15 makes this one weird. So guys, let's just write out what we have and what it makes. We have an x. I'm going to go ahead and write down an x. And we have a 6x minus 15. Go ahead. And they equal 90. So I just took my one angle plus my other angle. My one angle plus my other angle. They equal 90. Remember, when we're doing the algebra, we don't have to write degree symbols in here, but at the end, we'll probably want to write a degree symbol. I can't take 15 away from 6x, but I can put x with 6x. So I'm going to put my x and my 6x together and get 7x. Sorry that my 7 kind of has a weird little tail. We also have a minus 15 still, or a negative 15, and they still equal 90. Guys, all I really did was say, oh, x's, you go together. So I said you and you hang out together. Now, to deal with this negative 15, I can just add 15, right? Because algebra says use inverse operations. So we add 15. Yeah, we get 105. And on the left side, what we have now is 7x. Sorry, guys. Just not enough space. But then on both sides, we could... Ooh, divide by what? We have 7x. Be careful. Make sure that you added this up here. This x is a 1x. So remember, when we put 1x with our 6x, we get 7x. You with me, Douglas? You good on that? So then we actually have to divide by 7. Not x, just 7. Because remember, we're just trying to divide by 7 to turn this into 1x. So 7 divided by 7 makes the 1 that I want. Over here on the right side, I also have to divide by 7. What's 105 divided by 7? 15. So I barely have anywhere to write it, but I'm going to put it up here. So then, let's go everybody. What do I have in total over here if I put both angles together? 18x. How many degrees do I have if I put both angles together? How many degrees? 90, right? So what we're going to write is 18x equals 90. What do we do to get x by itself? Divide by 18. And again, grab our calculator to do that work. X equals 5. Flip to the back, and I'm going to give you at least 5 minutes to try those. Guys, talk with each other. Like, this is not an on your own type thing, really. This is like, try to use your neighbors. I'm going to show it up here on the board, too. Try to use your neighbors to work through these. I actually may, like, zoom out and show the whole page, and then we do, like, all 6 of them. So take a few minutes, and the first things I'm going to ask you guys is what equation can we write down to use? So, for example, if I ask you what equation could we write down to use for this top left one, and Grace, I know you're not going to be able to see this for a second. So if I section my paper out, this, how many x's do I have here? 9x in total. And together, what do they make? 180. So what we could write here is 9x equals 180. And then we can solve it from there. I don't know what just happened.
I did that, sorry.
Whoa. I don't know how to annotate on Zoom, I will be honest. I should learn how to do that. So, solve those, right? Use your calculator. I'm going to try to not talk for 5 minutes. That's really hard for me. It's darn near impossible. Should go set their notes out. Yeah, man. I think Colin actually just dropped that here. I guarantee that at least one of my 8th graders complains that I folded their paper. Like, you didn't fold it straight. So I gave the formula on the back of it, and I don't want them to go look at it, so I'm like folding it so like if they go to like look and unfold it, I can see. Ah, stop.
You talked.
Hmm?
You talked.
Well, okay. I had already talked during the 5 minutes. I was wondering what you said I failed. Now it makes sense. You guys think you'll play street hockey out in like the muddy, sort of like
No.
I'd make it fun. I think that'd be really fun.
I think you should use a dirt clod instead of a puck. That's like what we used to do back in Appalachia. Throw dirt at each other. That was a game in itself. Go play in the creek, and then you're like, why am I covered in orange? Oh yeah, because there's rust in this water, or like
That sounds safe.
copper. Yeah, it was very unsafe.
I was going wet sand if I brought this to the beach.
right? Because especially, it's like snow. You can almost like,
Stung by a jellyfish.
dude, same. It's horrible.
Or a year ago, they're like, that's what jellyfish are.
All right. So we already said that for this first equation up here, we would do 9x equals 180. If we do that division by 9 on both sides, we get that x would be 20. Grace, can you help me out on the next one here of what equation we could write for this guy? How many degrees is it if we arc the whole straight line back to itself? Yeah, 180. If I put my x's together with each other, how many x's do we have in total? Yeah, we have 5 x's. And then we also have an angle of, yeah. So this should be our setup, guys. Yeah.
I did 5x equals 100.
And that would be our next step. So you could have already said, well, get this 80 out of here. Right? Like, get that guy out of here, and let's just look at the leftover angles. And mathematically, what we do is algebra, right? Just subtract it from both sides. Subtract it from the entire system. So now we can say what Adam wrote of 5x equals 100. Divide it by 5. We get the same answer as the first one. Look at that.
What if it's just 20?
It's not.
It's not all just
I
20.
hope it hit.
It's more of
I really
a
would.
20.
The next one might be kind of quick to see. So, Sully, can you tell me the relationship that we can see here? They're what? Yeah, and what relationship do vertical angles have? Yeah, they're equal to each other. So here we can write that the angle of 10x is equal to the angle of 150. And then what do we do? Trust your gut. Yeah, trust your gut. Unless your gut says to eat the atomic wings, and then maybe don't trust it. Where, what, who? Quaker Steak, and I think B-Dubs has their own version. We don't necessarily have to have this degree symbol, guys, because there's a degree symbol here on X, but if you put it, it's not, like, wrong. Right? So you don't necessarily have to have it since we're solving for the variable, and there is a degree symbol here, but it's okay if you do put it. The next one is a whole lot easier if we highlight it. Straight line here. Straight line here. Oh, look, my 150 is made of blue and orange. Oh, look, my X's together are made of blue and orange. I don't really care about that line in between them. Forget about that line. What are these angles together? 6x. So 6x would be equal to its vertical of 150. What do we do to solve? Divide by 6. X is 25. It's a race now?
Competition.
It's a race to the
It's a competition.
Should I let you guys race to the end then? I mean, we have 5 minutes left. You want more time to finish these out? Yeah, if you guys aren't done with these, let's take a couple more minutes, finish out these last 2.
I'm winning.
Oh, I'm already,
We're all winners.
I'm already done with both of them. So, running out of juice on that highlighter, I guess.
Is that what we call it, as highlighter juice? Is that what's inside?
I should have said ink, but I don't have time to think.
You know you can make a like a lamp out of a highlighter? So if you have a black light, yellow highlighters, they glow under black light. like if you write it on the wall or whatever. So if you pull the felt part out and like drain it into like a glass bottle and then fill it with water and put the felt part in it so it like soaks into the water, the whole glass thing will glow like in a black light. So it's just like a,
invisible pens work.
yeah, it is how like invisible. Yeah, so under a certain light it shines. Yeah, but like you can still see highlighter under regular sunlight. But yeah, invisible ink works just like that. You use it all, writing secret messages. Well, I'm recording right now. Don't incriminate yourself. Wait for the recording to be done before you talk about the illegal things that you've done. I don't want this to be used in court. Although it might give my YouTube channel more subscribers. All right. So moving on. Douglas, what relationship could we set up here? What is it? What? 45 and 15. Dude, you were at the beginning of the class, and now your card is there's Finn, and then there's you again. I just keep reshuffling. 45 and 15, what about them? Are you saying put them together? Okay, so what are they together? When I add 45 and 15, 60. And what about 60 then? No, we're just not done yet. By? Oh, so you're saying 4x is equal to 60. So if we divide by 4 on both sides, 15? We did get a lot of nice answers back here, though. They maybe weren't all 20, but they're nice. Oh, another one involving 60. But wait, now I have x plus 45? Stepping back to the beginning of our one-step equation solving, how do I get rid of a plus 45? Minus 45. And coincidentally, it's a coincidence, there's no good reason, they are the same, right? X equals 15. That's a coincidence.
I did it a lot different.
Did you get the same answer?
Yeah, I did.
Then you're good. There are a bunch of ways to do all of these. Stop the recording, I need... All right, so that's the end of class for anyone who was watching the recording. Now we're going to go hear an incriminating story.